The world of celebrity branding thrives on image aesthetic and calculated storytelling. But when Martha Stewart, a name synonymous with lifestyle expertise, speaks, even the most polished facades begin to tremble. This week, that tremble was aimed squarely at Meghan Markle, whose recent ventures into the lifestyle world are facing increasing scrutiny. The spark a carefully worded yet razor-sharp comment by Stewart in a recent interview. When asked about Meghan's rise as a lifestyle figure through her Netflix show, With Love Meghan and her brand, As Ever, Martha responded, "Meghan I don't really know very well. I hope she knows what she's talking about. Authenticity to me is everything, and to be authentic and knowledgeable about your subject matter is extremely important." While some brushed it off as a generic response, others saw the deeper implication, a public call-out of Meghan's credibility. This wasn't just a throwaway remark. Coming from someone who has built a billion-dollar empire rooted in domestic expertise and personal credibility, Martha's words carried the weight of an entire industry. It was not just about Meghan's products or content. It was a questioning of her right to lead in the space at all. In the same breath, Stewart went on to praise Gwyneth Paltrow, founder of Goop, Oscar winner, and an established force in the luxury wellness world. Stewart called Paltrow very powerful and lauded her empire for having both substance and strategy. The comparison was hard to miss. The juxtaposition couldn't be clearer on one side. A Hollywood elite who transitioned into a powerhouse lifestyle guru with a clear niche and devoted audience. On the other, Meghan Markle, former actress turned duchess turned brand builder, struggling to find her footing in a crowded space dominated by authenticity, consistency, and expertise. It's not the first time Meghan's vision has been questioned. Her Netflix series With Love, Meghan struggled to break through, ranking 383rd globally, with just over 5 million hours watched. On IMDb, the show scored a dismal 3.210, leaving even fans wondering what exactly was the point. Meanwhile, As Ever, Meghan's newest lifestyle brand has been met with skepticism from industry insiders. Critics argue it looks beautiful, but lacks a compelling foundation. Is it built on values on Meghan's personal journey, or simply on the echo of royal fame? Even whispers from within her team have surfaced claims of control issues, of working relationships soured by high expectations and unclear direction. The narrative emerging is one of style over substance, a danger zone in the world of modern entrepreneurship. So when Martha Stewart, the queen of legacy lifestyle, delivers even a veiled critique, the industry listens. And the question becomes louder. Is Meghan Markle truly building a meaningful brand, or is she simply performing one? Because when your brand is built on vision, and that vision is questioned by someone who has seen empires rise and fall, you don't just lose credibility, you risk losing control. And now with Stewart's words reverberating through headlines, insiders are whispering, is Meghan about to face her most public branding test yet? If Meghan Markle had hoped to enter the lifestyle space with grace, polish, and purpose reminiscent of Martha Stewart or even Gwyneth Paltrow, the data tells a different story. It's not just the words of a lifestyle matriarch casting shadows now, it's the numbers. And they're not flattering. Let's start with Love Meghan, her much-anticipated Netflix series. Positioned as an intimate look into Meghan's home values and wellness philosophy, the show was expected to be a cornerstone of her personal brand. Instead, it flopped, ranking 383rd globally, with a mere 5.3 million hours watched. For context, that's less than 2% of the viewership of the top 10 titles in the same quarter. The audience wasn't just small, it was vocal. The series has a dismal IMDb rating of 3.2 to 10, plagued by comments calling it hollow tone deaf and more about branding than substance. For a show designed to build connection, it did the opposite. Then came the questions. Why was Meghan so absent emotionally in a show meant to be personal? Why did it feel like a Pinterest board came to life, curated but soulless? And why was As Ever, the brand supposedly rooted in authenticity, so vague about its mission? When the brand first launched, there was fanfare. Influencer-style drops, curated Instagram posts, glowing peach-toned aesthetic, all screaming modern elegance. But insiders from the industry started whispering the words Meghan dreads most, all surface, no depth. The New York Post ran a brutal critique calling As Ever a shell of a brand high on gloss, but empty on core values. Analysts questioned what the brand actually stood for, aside from Meghan herself. More troubling were reports from behind the scenes. According to two former collaborators working with Meghan, on As Ever was challenging due to her overly controlling nature and constant shifting of creative direction. One branding consultant noted, she wants to be seen as authentic, but can't let go of control long enough for anything real to shine through. And that's the tension. Meghan wants to lead a movement, but won't let the movement breathe. Meanwhile, comparisons to Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's empire are becoming more pointed. Unlike As Ever, Goop has a distinct tone, controversial as it may be, and a loyal base that knows exactly what the brand stands for. Martha Stewart herself acknowledged this, noting Paltrow's clarity and power. Meghan, by contrast, seems to still be searching for the why behind her empire. Add to this the fact that American Riviera Orchard, Meghan's previous brand initiative, quietly vanished with little fanfare or follow-up, another ghost of an idea that lacks staying power. The optics are clear. Meghan is moving quickly, launching ideas, pushing aesthetics. But the market isn't buying the narrative because in the fame economy, style must serve substance or it crumbles. And with Meghan doubling down on her next season of With Love, critics are already asking if season 1 didn't land, why does she believe season 2 will? Or is this not about the audience at all? For weeks, headlines screamed failure. Martha Stewart questioned Meghan's credibility. Ratings were disastrous, and as ever was floundering. The public narrative was clear. Meghan's lifestyle brand was imploding. But then came the twist. In a surprising pivot, Meghan stepped into a high-profile interview with a well-respected female entrepreneur, Jamie Kern-Lima, founder of IT Cosmetics and best-selling author on The Jamie Kern-Lima Show. What was expected to be a standard celebrity appearance turned into Meghan's most emotionally raw and strategically revealing moment in recent memory. Gone were the over-rehearsed lines and brand-heavy buzzwords. Meghan spoke of rejection of years spent being told she was not black enough, not white enough, of being cast out for not fitting Hollywood's molds. She described her identity as a moving target, shaped more by survival than branding. I was always proving. Every room I walked into, I had to explain myself. I'm tired of that game. And for a moment, just a moment, critics paused. Was this finally the authentic Meghan the world had been asking for? The timing was no coincidence. PR insiders confirmed that this interview had been in the works for months. But it aired precisely after Martha's veiled critique, almost like a response wrapped in vulnerability. To support the image shift, Meghan also allowed behind-the-scenes access to her team, showing meetings with female artisans behind as Ever's products, reading fan letters, even tearing up while talking about her children and her hopes for them to grow up in a world where empathy is valued more than influence. It was all very cinematic, and therein lay the problem. Just as public sympathy began to flicker back, social media turned. Again, posts began surfacing, pointing out that nearly every vulnerable moment had been previewed in promotional teasers before the interview even dropped. Lighting, framing emotion, it was all professionally lit and edited. Critics accused the Duchess of choreographing authenticity. She cried, but with 2 camera angles and soft piano in the background, one viral tweet read. Even supporters were conflicted. One Reddit user wrote, "I want to believe her, but it's hard when vulnerability starts to look like strategy." Then came the Daily Mail feature, a scathing piece analyzing how Meghan's every organic moment seemed to align with product launches, contract renewals, or image rehabilitation cycles. A former Archewell staffer was quoted anonymously saying, "She's not fake, but she knows exactly when to turn the camera on." That single quote shifted the narrative once more, because now the debate wasn't about whether Meghan was authentic or inauthentic. It was whether she was too self-aware to be trusted. Is authenticity still real if you plan it? In the age of performative transparency, where every emotional reveal can be monetized, Meghan's interview became a case study. A generation raised on YouTube vulnerability and TikTok trauma dumping watched the Duchess's moment and whispered, "We've seen this script before." And Martha's words returned sharper than ever. Authenticity is everything. And now with Meghan walking the razor's edge between emotional honesty and emotional theater, Netflix faces a dilemma. Do they double down on her story or distance themselves from the performance? By the time Meghan's carefully calibrated vulnerability aired across platforms, something else was conspicuously absent: any formal statement from Netflix. It was a silence that spoke volumes. Netflix, once the Duchess's most prominent ally, had been central to the Sussex's post-royal brand rebirth. From Harry and Meghan to Heart of Invictus and With Love, Meghan, the streaming giant, had been their platform of choice and the symbol of their independence. But when Meghan's authenticity was questioned by the queen of lifestyle herself, Martha Stewart, and then dissected in mainstream and social media alike, Netflix made no effort to defend her. No promotion. No statement of confidence. Not even a social post. Why? Insiders close to the Netflix content team shared with Variety that internal assessments of With Love, Meghan were disappointing but not surprising. One executive bluntly stated, "We expected a Meghan Paltrow. We got an Instagram brand with a royal filter." Even more telling, conversations about a possible second season were on hold. Not canceled, but paused, a term that in Hollywood often foreshadows quiet exits. In an internal content planning deck leaked to The Hollywood Reporter, As Ever was mentioned only in a footnote far below newer lifestyle projects led by talent like Reese Witherspoon and Padma Lakshmi. Meanwhile, rumors intensified that Netflix was pivoting hard away from branded personalities and toward high-stakes docudramas, edgy social commentary, and IP-based franchises. Celebrity lead lifestyle content is under review, the document read. So where does this leave Meghan? According to PR veteran Annika Patel, Netflix's silence is more damning than criticism. It means they no longer see her as core talent worth protecting. And the audience picked up on it immediately. YouTube creators from media analysts to reaction vloggers began uploading with thumbnails screaming Netflix drops Meghan. The Duchess deplatformed. Some went too far, citing termination, which was quickly debunked. Meghan still had projects in post-production, but others hit closer to the truth. Netflix no longer sees her as untouchable. And just when it couldn't get more brutal, the South China Morning Post broke an exclusive Meghan show had been submitted to Netflix's internal audience retention team and was flagged for a low rewatch value and below average episode completion rate. Translation viewers clicked, but they didn't stay. For a brand built on public engagement, this wasn't just a PR wound. It was a signal that the formula may be broken. The Duchess, once the face of post-royal empowerment, now faced the unthinkable, being quietly shelved. Not because she was too controversial, but because she was no longer captivating. And just as Netflix appeared to turn away, another media giant quietly extended an olive branch. Not streaming, not lifestyle, something live. Could Meghan be planning a pivot no one saw coming? In the wake of Netflix silence, media speculation surged, yet Meghan remained poised. No reaction, no rebuttal, just a carefully curated series of soft-focus Instagram reels showcasing family moments, marmalade jars, and wildflower fields. But silence doesn't mean surrender. Behind the scenes, a subtle pivot was underway. Sources from Archwell confirmed that Meghan had shifted her focus toward direct-to-consumer commerce, moving away from traditional media dependency. The As Ever brand, though, criticized for being more aesthetic than authentic, was gaining traction among younger demographics, especially Gen Z women, who admired its minimalism and eco-chic branding. Industry reports indicated a potential collaboration with wellness titan Mindbody Green, and unconfirmed whispers suggested Meghan had been approached by a major publisher for a coffee table book project merging lifestyle visuals with personal essays. Simultaneously, Meghan's absence from the digital fray allowed something unexpected to happen. A divided audience began to consolidate into camps. On one side, critics echoed Martha Stewart's sentiment. Meghan lacked depth, relied too much on branding, and failed to deliver the authenticity today's audience craved. On the other side, defenders pointed to her consistent philanthropic work, her stance on mental health, and her right to reinvent, arguing that the backlash was less about branding and more about bias. The real question emerging wasn't whether Meghan failed. It was more nuanced. Has the public grown too skeptical to allow a woman like Meghan to evolve in peace? Or has Meghan orchestrated every move so tightly that evolution now feels manufactured? Even within royal watcher circles, factions are split. The once monolithic anti-Sussex sentiment now contends with a quieter voice. We don't have to like her, but are we being fair? And that is where Meghan, knowingly or not, may find her next power play. Because where authenticity falters, controversy sustains attention. And where media doors close, direct audience relationships can flourish. If Netflix was once her stage, perhaps Meghan's next act won't need a network at all. So now the lines are drawn.